Hey, welcome to another Q&A for the 2023 San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. We've got the filmmakers here from, what's this program? Friday Fright Night or Frights at Night or what's it called?
Frights at night.
Frights at
Frights
night.
at Night. Woo, scary stuff. Loved your films. Brought great pleasure to me. Thanks for being here, filmmakers.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
of
us.
you.
course. Thanks for having us.
I am Jason Wolos. I am the programmer for the San Francisco Short Film Festival. First off, just go around the room and associate your film with your face and what your role was. Laura, you're first to my screen here. Introduce yourself and your film.
So, hi, I'm Laura Medeiros. I'm a Brazilian filmmaker now living in Los Angeles, and I was the writer, director, producer of Good Times, Bad Times.
Excellent, thank you. And Tyler, you're next on my screen.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tyler Davis, director, performer, writer in Los Angeles, and I was the director behind H Mart and Ashay.
Woo, double threat. Well done. Good to have you here. And we got a team down in the corner here, Sarah and Robert. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Sarah Reimers. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
This is Robert Rosello. We made Night Feeding. I wrote and directed it, and we produced it together, and Robert did a lot of important jobs on it.
I got it. And,
Yes.
Did she recruit you or you didn't have a choice?
it was a little. I kind of pushed it to happen. Actually, she had
Wow.
to, and I was like, "I got a camera. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Really? And John, how about you?
Hey there, my name's John Sherman, and I was the writer, director, and one of the performers in the loose scene position.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. And last but not least, Jim.
Hey, I'm Jim Haverkamp. I'm a filmmaker in Durham, North Carolina, and I was the director and editor of The Voice in Isabel Fleiss's office.
A great group of eclectic, scary, sometimes funny films here. Jim, I left off on you. Why'd you make your film?
Well, it's interesting. I tried for about 10 years not to make this film, and by talking myself out of it. But I actually met the poet who wrote the poem that it's based on. His name's Virgil Renfro. And I met him on the beach in North Carolina about 12 years ago, randomly. Our kids were the same age and they were playing. And we got to talking. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a poet. Oh, I'm a filmmaker. We should, exchange stuff. So he sent me a batch of poems that just really knocked me flat. And I just really loved their strange imagery, and they kind of resonated on this frequency of loneliness or something that I identified with. And so I thought at that point that I wanted to make it. And then I just kind of stopped myself because I thought, I don't know how to do this thing with the throat. And there's just a lot of special effects and stuff that I've never done before.
So did you get in your, this is kind of a tangent here, but did you get in your own way as a filmmaker, as a creative? You said it took you a long time. Did you kind of just get bottled up in your head? And
Yeah, and I, sort of made other stuff that I thought, might be a little bit easier technically. But then, in the pandemic, as all of us had time to sort of think about things, then this particular poem came back to me, and I just thought, yeah, screw it. I'll do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll just do it.
Well, you picked the right one too. It lends itself visually to the filmic, medium.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tyler, how about you? You can pick both films or talk about one of them, but H Mart, it was just a fun ride. How did that come about? And well done.
Yeah. Let's see. The shortest version of it is like both of these films came about as part of like a diversity inclusion initiative with Paramount called Showcase. And so it's like a talent scout that looks for folks that may not have gotten a larger break in the industry of Hollywood. And so there's like a month-long writer's room where people are just kind of like pitching sketches. We've got some folks that have done the program. I have a background in sketch comedy, and so we're kind of funneling and honing in on these ideas. And specifically H Mart, Mia Kodama had an amazing like cross between like zombies and like Edgar Wright video games all in like a market, and it just had to happen. So it was really fun to do.
H Mart was kind of in a comedy program at first, and then we brought it over just for time consideration. It's so good we didn't want to nix it.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, I think like for Showcase that this past year, we did like 15 shorts. And so there are a lot of like genre hopping that we're doing. So it's really cool to know that like, we're trying to get like pull laughs, but when we drop into like more tense moments, like, hey, it plays, I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could talk to each one of you several times about this, your films. John, how did you come up with your, if I may use the word, strange idea?
Yeah. So it's like a dark comedy thing. Lucina position about two dudes playing chess. Uh, Originally it was going to be a
Quite
feature.
twisted. Quite twisted.
Yeah. Um, it was going to be a feature, like a documentary, and you were supposed to understand very technically chess strategy. And then the Queen's Gambit came out, and I realized that I shouldn't try to do that because people were going to be tired of that. So I just used the research I had done, and then I wrote a short, um, and tailored it around something that I would want to perform with my friend Miles, and just wrote two parts that were tailored for me and him. And yeah, basically I bully him and piss him off. And I felt like, yeah.
And so then you just recruited him and took the script to him and said, "What do you think?"
Yep, exactly.
And he
And
was
then we just
all
rehearsed
on
it
board.
and shot it. Yep.
We
Right
need
on.
those friends in our lives.
Yes.
Hey, let me bully you for art.
Well, yeah, or recruit you, right? Sure. Get a lot of that too, where the people starring the film or collaborating with the film are just long-term friends or family. If they're good enough. Sometimes it doesn't work out as well as it
Yeah.
should. Luckily, he was a decent actor for you. Sarah and Robert, tell us about how your film came to be.
Well, we had
Are you a mom? I'm sorry to cut you off. Are you a mom?
yes,
Okay.
and that's how it came to be. We're both we work in the film business. I'm an editor and Robert works in visual effects, and we like doing films on the side and working on projects together. And we had talked about wanting to do something like quick with just the gear we had and just the people around us. And I was in that first year of not getting any sleep with the new baby and like experiencing the sort of slow descent into madness and sleep deprivation. And I had the idea for the film, like one night feeding my baby girl and just being like, well, that would be really distressing. And I told Robert about it. And really, I mean, like you say, like pulling in family, my brother is the sound designer and the mixer. We had one good friend helping us on set. Another friend, had a baby and was willing to be in the short with the baby. And another friend came in, and it was just a very small group of friends. And we,
Yeah.
my little
imagine,
like fever dream.
yeah. I imagine a lot of female audience members, moms, and people in general being able to relate to the sleep deprivation part, not to mention, the kid keeping you up all the time. That's a scary movie right there. Just even,
Yeah, there's a lot.
And maybe the slightly creepy thoughts that you have. A little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part.
But then do you guys notice too, that like a lot of creative ideas come like in REM sleep or just when you're waking up or you wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you turn off the lights and you close your eyes and you just like shut off the other senses a little bit, and your mind can like stop processing everything that's coming through your eyeballs, and there's not as much sonic, auditory noise happening. That's when the brain starts doing weird stuff or fun stuff. Really, it's the weird stuff when you haven't slept more than 2 hours at a time and for over a year. That's when it might get a little twisty.
And I gotta just say, appreciate the Amoeba Music T-shirt there, sir. Well done. Laura, how about you? Where did your film come from?
So my film came from
have
like
you been on a crazy date? I mean,
no, no. But it came more from a task that I gave myself for putting a movie out there, no matter the cost. That's why it's so short. That's why it's so self-contained. Out of the 3 things I did in the movie, like directing, writing, and producing, I'm mostly a producer by trade than the other 2. So I knew that, okay, I need to put a movie out there no matter, and I don't have a lot of money. And so since I like writing, how can I make a story, a very short story within the budget that I have to spend on it? And personally, I really like horror, and I enjoy movies like Suspiria, so I really like playing with color, stuff like that. So it was more for me a testament of you can put something out there, and and still be budget friendly. So
Yeah,
that's
like
kind of
what?
like my banner as I make this
Yeah, yeah.
movie
Like
and
what?
then out
Like
there.
$1 million, $5 million? But yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's low budget for me. No. Um,
Well,
but yeah.
tell us about some of the challenges of, oh, it's just of everybody, the challenges of making your film. Like, were there any challenges, or did you come in on time and was it easy flow, or what?
Well,
Whose finger is
basically,
it? You know,
what?
whose finger is it? You know, where'd you get the thing?
Mine, because I didn't need to pay money to anyone else, so I just used mine. It was like, do anything for this, chop it off.
For my art.
Just kidding. That's for the sequel.
Yeah, Tyler, you know, your production's very, very slick in a good way, very polished. They look fantastic. They're cut well. It's the art direction, yeah, just well done.
Yeah, I appreciate
really,
you, man.
Really easy to do.
Not at all, not in the slightest. But I mean, through also I got a helicopter flying by, but
Right. Welcome to LA.
I was fortunate enough to have just like some of the best folks to work with. I'm kind of newer to the directing space. Background is more sketch and live, and then during the pandemic kind of like stepping into this new light is like, oh, I love cameras, I know performance. I also edited a good chunk of both Ashe and H Mart, so a lot of it was just like working with people that are, you know, more technically knowledgeable than me, but also just like trying to hold it down with like, this is the way that I see it. And everybody was so good about just being like, how do we make this work? And also kind of from the standpoint of, we had that grocery store for H Mart. We only had it for like 2 or 3 hours before they actually had to open its doors and like be a functioning grocery store. So we like knocked out the stuff front and center in front of the cash register, the loud stuff, and then we were able to like section ourselves off into different aisles for the different scenes and sets.
As it was opening up, so you kind of, because that's not much time at all. And then you had stuff outside, right? It's barely outside. It's all inside the grocery store.
Yeah, the last part outside was truly, that was our martini shot. We were like, all right, we got everything. Let's grab this. Let's put a bow on it, because we also shot. We did all those shorts like back to back to back to back to back, which was super great and an amazing experience. But it was also just like, we got to wrap up this day because we need to prep for the next day.
with the same crew and even cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was again truly lightning in a bottle.
Right. And got to be kind of a well-polished filmmaking family. Yeah. And John, what about you? One location.
Yes.
So that probably aided in making the short, but any challenges making your movie?
Well, so it was nice having one location where we pre-lit and did some of the production design the day before, and then we shot over 2 days. But yeah, I mean, the big challenge is because we're doing all these chess moves, continuity, basically. It's very easy. You have to line up every line of dialogue with every move on the chessboard. We had rehearsed a fair amount for that, but still that slowed things down a bit. And then there's just stuff with long takes that are also involving that, where if something is wrong, you have to reset. And yeah, it ate up a lot of time, but I think
how much time did you take to make your movie?
It was a 2-day shoot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And Jim, how about you? Similar questions. Any challenges realizing the poem, and was the poet part of the, I don't know, the production process?
He wasn't physically on set, but he was supportive, and I kind of didn't tell him, like, I made a bunch of changes to the poem. You know, the doctor's a man in the original poem, and it's set in the turn of the 20th century, and I just thought both of those things kind of affected the storytelling in a way that I wanted to play with. But yeah, this was the first film I've made where we actually built a set. I'm used to just, you know, guerrilla filmmaking where you go in and kind of grab something where you can. And so that would be a pro tip for all aspiring filmmakers is the set designer usually works in theater, and he's a good friend, and took this on, and I realized like theater set designers are used to making like amazing looking things with like $5. So he was really able to stretch our no budget. The other thing that was a little challenging was this is almost like a BBC production from the old days. So everything that was outdoors was shot on film, and everything that was indoors was shot on video. And that was part of my pandemic realization too, is that I hadn't shot any film in at least 20 years. So that was part of the challenge of this. And then it's a good challenge, but then, shooting on 16 millimeter where you get 2 minutes and 15 seconds per roll was a little more challenging than I remembered. So.
I come from the film background too, and I appreciate it about your film. It added so much mood to a texture to your film, if you will. I mean, we were in that space.
Thanks. Yeah, it was all stock that had been sitting in my refrigerator for at least 10 or 15 years too. So that made it extra cruddy.
Jim, can I ask you about that wallpaper in the lobby?
Yeah. So Derek Ivey, who was the set designer, he did that. So originally I really wanted it to be like just wood paneling. And I found out that it's really hard to get wood paneling these days for some reason. And so I said, oh, I think they make wallpaper of wood paneling. Maybe we should do that. And he said, well, if you want to do wallpaper, hold on, let me do some design. So he came back a day later with that design. And so it was like a 19th century German medical illustration was what it was based on.
It was amazing.
Yeah, thank you. He had been designing wallpaper like this just for fun for years. So he was already used to, doing the sort of mirroring and all that stuff. And then we had it's at a, Spoonflower, which is a website where you can upload your own designs and print them. So we got all like 8 or 10 rolls of wallpaper and actually put it up, and that's in my studio. So that wallpaper is still there. And
all your films have amazing moments in them. Can each of you pick out one that it could be as simple as the wallpaper, not simple, but as detailed as wallpaper, and share something you're proud of, an amazing moment. I mean, I could suggest one if you want, but tell me something you're most proud of or an amazing moment that you realized in your film. And John, I'll go with you next.
Okay, I'm picking one moment. All right.
Well, maybe you're most proud of, like even maybe like a favorite scene. Like anytime there's physical violence or suggestion of violence or camera angle, it's amazing. Okay.
I think I'm gonna go with the ending shot. I think that works really well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about how to talk about that.
But well, think about the audience member, like, how'd you do it, or why is it amazing to you?
Well, so this is kind of a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but the other guy beats me up and almost kills me, and then he sets the chessboard and we play another game, and then I shake his hand, and it all happens in one take, and I feel like it turned out pretty well, and it was just a product of a lot of rehearsals.
Okay, rehearsals, yeah. It was pretty brutal.
John, your physicality in that scene was amazing.
Oh,
just the way you were all hunched over like that. I thought that was great.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good moment. Sarah and Robert, like I said, I have many moments in your films, but I want you guys to select.
Why don't you take this one?
I don't know. I guess her sitting up in bed, that shot of her starting from laying down and coming all the way up.
Oh, yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
That one was really hard.
It's kind of the last shot that we had done on day, and maybe we should have started with that.
No, I intentionally wanted that to be the last shot because I wanted the exhaustion on her face, and she was really done with us by that point too. She was done. But that one was that's a really hard shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all your movies have great mood and lighting and ambiance, like yours, Sarah and Robert. But an indelible image is the baby. Yeah.
I mean, that was super fun because we made that, and the base of that thing is like we cut a whoopee cushion in half, and then I made all the teeth out of clay, and it's hot glue and clay and a whoopee cushion and paint, and we rigged up this like thing with a drum head, and and
Wow.
a pickle. The tongue is a pickle. It's a little cornerstone. And we just like got some goo to dub on it. We're like put the kid to bed and hanging out in the garage, like making this thing like move. And we're just like laughing and looking at each other going, what's wrong with us?
How old, this is kind of a tangent. How old was your baby when you were making this movie? And now, did you look at breastfeeding or your baby differently after?
Oh man, but I don't show it to people who are about to start breastfeeding. That's for sure.
We
Don't
shot
put
it.
to expecting mothers. No.
Yeah, she was only like 2 or 3. She
Yeah,
was
not
2
quite
when we
2,
made
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, these things are hard to we all have full-time jobs, and so trying to fit it in while you're making movies for other people to put bread on the table takes a while.
Well, let's go on to Laura too. The same question: an amazing moment or a proud moment of your film. I mean, a great mood, room. I could sense like if I was on a first date with this person, I'd be scared.
Run.
Run.
Something that I learned in horror movies is that if somebody has an instant camera, run away. Usually they are the psycho killers.
Wait, I have an instant camera.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed the lighting that I ended up having in my original plan. It was either in the living room it's gonna be warm and yellowish, but in the hallway it's gonna be bluish and dark and cold. But my gaffer, who gave me a really good input, he asked me, "Hey Laura, have you ever seen Suspiria?" And I was like, "Yes, let's do that then." So that's where the colorful aspect of the creepy, let's say, zone of the movie is inspired from. And okay, so it's also, I really enjoyed the scene where she is putting the pig stick over his mouth. I think that was very comical, and I really enjoyed that. And honestly, a lot of things were improvised because the script was very bare bones. So a lot of things we weren't expecting to happen on set, and thank God we managed to do everything within like 11 hours. But one of the things we weren't expecting, the original plan was that she would just sit down and shush him. But once I actually got my hands on the animal stickers, I was like, I think it's gonna be funny if she just sticks a pig over his mouth. But the third thing is that when she takes the picture, we weren't expecting the flash to be as bright. And my gaffer, who is also my editor, he told me this is gonna look great in post. So I was like, yeah, this is, and I think it was like one of those little good surprises that you find yourself on set. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but it's gonna look great. So
Yeah, nice.
I think the
Love that.
flashlight was one of those moments.
Yeah. And Tyler, and the amazing moments, to tell us what you came up with, but also just your performances, the lead actors, they're amazing.
They're phenomenal. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the thing that comes to mind, to talk about Ashe a little bit, that was, I think we started process on all the showcase shows, shorts. Like the first week we shot a bunch of Ashe where we were at that corner store, and then we took a long break and had basically like 2 weeks of other filming, other projects, same actors and other stuff. But then our last day we shot the end of Ashe, and it was an amazing, it was cool to like come back to. It's like, oh, actually I love all the pieces, but I thought we had really something special with Ashe, and being able to like get coverage from a couple different shorts inside this building that we were at, but then like check in with our actors, put makeup, like white makeup on people, and then actually like we come out and we're in this alley getting everything done, and we're kind of losing daylight, so we had to kind of truncate a lot of the beats and the shots. My DP Kelsey Talton, our camera op Dustin, also Steadicam op, was just so dialed in to just being like, all right, everybody's got a theater background. Can we do this like the walk up, the lotion squeeze? Like that was broken out into way longer than it needed to be shots. But it's like, can we do this in one? And everybody's like, yeah, sure. And
it's probably the way it should be. Like it's for the benefit of the film, right? It's like, that's wonderful.
So it was a lot of like it was just like a pressure cooker, but then everybody showing up pretty much every single day, just like locked in and like just a great performer in their own right, and just like lending their talents. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Was the makeup a challenge in Ashe? You know, having an African
A little bit.
yeah. So any tell us about that a little bit. I know nothing about it, so like it was really believable and well applied.
Yeah. So that was like a cool opportunity for like me to draw reference that I wanted, and then like we had like a dedicated person for makeup. I think it's one of those things where we were doing a lot with, I think, the scale that we were trying to do it. We were doing it on the littler side, and I think we it was one of those things where we look up and it's like, oh, we actually have to film this in 20 minutes, and we don't have full makeup on everyone.
Yeah.
So we had helping hands kind of coming in, and like just kind of truly just like anyone who had some free time kind of popped in, got some white paint, and like
Wow.
took reference from of like what it should look like, and it's like, this is what we can do. And I it just felt like scrappy, and I love
Yeah.
that because
Scrappy
that's
and
what I'm
tight.
from.
You had a good teamwork.
Yes, teamwork.
So we got time for one or two more. Like I said, I could talk to each of you individually for an hour about your individual films. Tyler, since I'm on you, then a tip for a future filmmaker. Tip for filmmakers. What
Oh
that's
man.
from all of you. What's some advice you would give a filmmaker or give yourself before you started your films?
Yo, if you are in the directing space, I would very highly recommend like learning how to edit. Even if you don't want to be an editor, I think that's like being able to like speak to editors during the various assembly cuts of something is super invaluable. And then also kind of got to a point where it's like, all right, the finishing edits, I'll take those. And then also, I have a little bit of an art background, and I storyboarded a lot of like the more complicated stuff, like both Ashe and H Mart. A good chunk of those were storyboarded on the day. And you don't have to share them to everybody, but I love like boarding things out, showing them to like my actors and possibly like DP, just be like, this is the game plan, this is the roadmap. Shotlets are great, but I just I love the specificity that a board can impart.
Good advice, Jim. Any advice? Anything you learned?
I want to echo what Tyler is saying about storyboarding, because I also feel like that's the only way you can ever answer the question, "Are we done?" Yet.
Ooh, say that again, Jim.
There's nothing worse than being on set with somebody who you're just like, okay, are we done yet? And we're like, I don't know, let's do another, or maybe go over here. Yeah, and I feel like the other thing is, people say it a lot, but just getting creative people who you get along with and really like together, and empower everybody to, make contributions, because like most of the cool stuff in this film, it came from people on the team. I hadn't even thought about it. So
yeah, it sounds like I heard that from all of you, where just the set was so comfortable and fun that people were allowed to contribute in their own way. John, how about you? What's a piece of advice you'd give yourself or someone who wants to be a filmmaker?
If I was gonna do this one again, I would have been more aggressive in cutting down the shot list. Where there's stuff we just didn't need that would have been nice to have, but it would have been better to have just more time on setups, more takes, and the stuff that we really needed. But
you should have done more storyboarding.
yeah, I know.
Yep. Hit me up next time, bud.
Well, at least you didn't keep it all in the film. Another thing, people have to learn. Filmmakers, you gotta kind of cut your babies, if you will. Laura, some advice.
First, I want to second the storyboard, but not just storyboards, but any tool that you can use to enhance communication with your team, because it's lack of communication that makes you be late and be behind your shot list and all that stuff. So always try to find the best tool to communicate what you want, and things will run smoothly. But the thing that I mostly emphasize when I meet, especially young filmmakers who are new to the industry, it's just put your films out there. I know a bunch of like people who are about to leave film school, or they're really eager to make a movie, but once they have it, they're like, I don't think it's good enough. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I feel like regardless of the quality, of course, if it's good, better, learning how to put yourself out there, learning how to navigate the festival route, and most importantly, knowing how to deal with rejection, which is for every yes that you get from a festival, you get like
That's for
10
life.
no's, which
That's for life.
so it not only in regards to festivals, but also it gets you an idea how to navigate this industry and keep your head tall. So put your stuff out there. Don't be afraid to expose your project. You will always be your worst critic. So don't be afraid. Jump, do it, and put your stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you all made your films. I'm glad you guys did it. Sarah and Robert, we'll end with you with advice for filmmakers or your past selves.
Well,
And parenting advice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody's saying, and I do think it's, you know, for the first time filmmakers and people thinking about it, just do it. Just do it, because you can't learn it except by doing, and you learn through the mistakes. Professionally, we're both post-production people, and I will my advice would be, don't wait till you get to post-production to invite the ideas of your post-production people before you shoot. Talk to your editor, talk to your visual effects person. They could give you a cooler way of doing something. They may give you an easier way of doing something. I storyboard and I run my boards past my editor before I get going. I try not to edit my own projects, but I add, like, did I get all the coverage? Does this look right? What do you think? Because they'll, you know, your editor is the person you're going to have a really involved relationship with at the end, and your visual effects person is going to be the person who might be angry at you at the end. So it's good to involve them early, and they'll have great ideas, and they'll help smooth out your production, make sure you get everything you need in the limited time that you have to get it.
Right on. Robert, you want to add? Or
surround yourself with interesting, creative people and be open to their input very much.
Well, I'm happy to be surrounded with you guys right now, even though it's virtually, because I love talking to you and loved your films, and I hope I get to meet you in person someday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so congratulations. Thanks everybody for watching and supporting independent film. Check out more great movies and independent movies at sfindie.com. All right, filmmakers, good luck to you. Hope to see you in person.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.